These newspaper article readings are not for the faint-hearted or the squeamish. If you're at all sensitive, I might suggest these aren't for you. If in doubt, check the description below. It'll tell you which topics are covered in this particular episode. There's both human and animal suicides, and you heard that right. There's also horrific descriptions of injuries, as well as the deaths of youngsters. So don't do it to yourself if you're prone to nightmares, is all I'll say right now. Not all the articles are horrible. Some of them are uplifting, some of them show incredible bravery and heroism. There are near misses. So these were picked as showing life prior to health and safety, as well as for the crazy and curious details some contain with other miscellaneous happenings that kind of struck me enough to post the articles to Twitter, despite not having too much relevance to Scotland necessarily. These are worldwide topics, and they didn't have any real connection to the projects I was working on and researching at the time. I just happened to have come across them by the way, kind of thing. So we'll get into them, shall we? What we're going to do here is we're going to do a lucky dip of newspaper articles to really mix them up a wee bit, because while I'm doing the researches, I'm obviously coming up with the same kind of terms and things. So we'll mix them up even further. So to that end, I have all of the newspaper titles and dates of the articles. We're joined by a Fargo today. I don't know how long for though. He's not one to stick around, unlike a Zara girl. Nee? Yeah, no way already. You can't come under the covers while a person's sitting on the covers, a Fargo boy. You will not learn this thing. Nee? It will be all yours once I am gone. I promise. Okay. Alright, we'll see what the hat has for us today. We have the Linlithgowshire Gazette for the 1st of December 1905. Linlithgowshire Gazette, Fargo Cat. What do we think it has for us? You want to smell? Okay, so this is a short article, which we'd not really see today because vaccines. So it's entitled Uphall and Pumferston, Village Notes. The children of the village are, at present, suffering from an epidemic of mumps, which has spread its ravages as far as Deshment in the station. Colds are numerous, and a few isolated cases of whooping cough and German measles complete the tale, with the result that the attendance at the public school suffers severely. Seldom has the attendance been so poor and irregular. And that's from the Linlithgowshire Gazette for the 1st of December 1905. And like I say, I mean, your mumps, measles and whooping cough are some of the first things you get inoculated against. So we'd not see this kind of article these days. It obviously doesn't stop new pandemics from forming, of course, as we've been aware for the last couple of years. Let's have another one. Okay. We have the Caledonian Mercury for the 12th of October 1826. So this is quite an early one, and from one of my favourite papers. Okay, another short article. Last week, the drivers of the Enterprise and Commercial Edinburgh coaches were charged in the Glasgow Police Court with furious driving in the Gallowgate. The charge was proved by two gentlemen, and the exculpatory witnesses made the case worse. It appeared that they drive at the rate of 10 miles an hour. Bailey Graham said this dangerous practice must be checked. He would fine one of them in a guinea, and the other, who appeared less guilty, in half a guinea, and if they were ever again brought forward on the same charge, the full penalty would be exacted. And that's from the Caledonian Mercury for the 12th of October, 1826. And 10 miles an hour is not going to be considered furious driving speed in today's mind. This is back before motor cars. This is back before engine-driven vehicles were really a thing. This is going to have been horse-drawn coaches, more than likely. And 10 miles an hour is a good pace for horse-drawn coaches to attain, but it was obviously too much for the populace at the time to contend with. Anything going that kind of speed down their main streets, their main thoroughfares. And we'll see what we have next. We'll go for, I don't know, this one feels like it's promising. The Shetland Times for the 29th of June 1907. Shetland Times, Let's see. It's another wee article. Fight on a locomotive. A Copenhagen message states that the station master at Aalborg, Jutland, saw a train which was timed to stop there, rushing through at express speed, and the engine driver and the fireman engaged in a desperate fight. It appears that the engine driver, who had been a teetotaler for 8 years, had suddenly got mad drunk. The fireman succeeded in overpowering his mate and stopped the train in time to avert a terrible accident. There were 500 children in the train. And that's from the Shetland Times for the 29th of June 1907. 500 children in a train being driven by someone drunk for the first time in 8 years. Yeah, that might have had a very different end with any other firemen on board, maybe. That would have been a crazy scene to witness, huh? Like, two of the train authorities, so the main two guys in control of the train, fighting on it as it dashes straight through a station. Oh my word. Oh well, it had a happy end, I guess. These have been really short ones today. Let's see if we can get another. This one. The Southern Reporter for the 23rd of April 1903. We'll see what the Southern Reporter has. This is the shocking fatality at Portobello Cable Power Station. On Monday afternoon, a man named Robert Farquhar met his death by being cut in two on Portobello Cable Power Station. Farquhar, who was a lamplighter in the employment of the Edinburgh and District Tramways Company, was standing in the tension room of the power station when he had apparently fallen against the tension carriage and been drawn in by the rope and carried over the wheel. No one observed the accident, but Farquhar's body was completely cut in two, the upper half lying some 20 yards away from the lower part. It is further supposed that when the accident happened, Farquhar had been looking out for the stranded portion of the cable, the stranding having been brought about by the culpable meddlesomeness of a passenger who, standing on the platform of a crowded car, tampered with the brake as the car was going smartly down the hill at Joppa terminus, causing a delay to the service of about an hour. Farquhar was 34 years of age and resided at Ramsay Lane, Portobello. He leaves a widow who is a daughter of Mrs. Winthrop, High Street, Selkirk. And that's from the Southern Reporter for the 23rd of April 1903. The culpable meddlesomeness of a passenger. Now, yes, the passenger is not named. It's not given any kind of idea as to whether that passenger was caught up with and held responsible for this death. I'm wondering if even in reading the papers after the fact, the culpable, meddlesome passenger recognised themselves as the person that had caused this accident. And I wonder how they felt about that. To be responsible for something so horrific. It's going to live with them. Like, definitely. Well, we'll see if we can't end on something a little more positive, shall we? We have the Western Chronicle for the 30th of September 1904. Okay, so we don't always get what we ask for. What we get instead is a Fargo cat knocking over the lights and the cameras again, and another American train smash. 4 killed, 9 injured. A telegram from Peoria, Illinois states that a train on the Chicago, Burlington and Quincy Railroad was wrecked at Elmwood, about 22 miles from Peoria, on Monday morning. 1 passenger was killed and 12 injured, 3 fatally. There had been heavy rains in the district, and at the spot where the accident occurred, the railway track had been washed away, leaving the rails suspended in mid-air. The train came along at high speed, and the engine leapt across the open space and then left the rails, but did not overturn. The stalker and the luggage van were hurled into a deep ditch, but the other cars fortunately kept the rails. And that's from the Western Chronicle for the 30th of September 1904. So, yeah, the American railroads were really dangerous. Some of their smallest smashes rivaled some of Britain's largest. Really, the Americans knew how to go all out for an accident, for varying reasons. I mean, there we have its weather and geology has combined to cause that one. Sometimes it was just sheer neglect on the part of the railway companies, but yeah, just single track lines, shunting. There were all kinds of ways that you could die horrifically on the American railways and the British railways, but really some of the American tragedies I've come across have been really awful. So that ends this episode, and I may see you again for another, hopefully happier episode. Here, Fargo, 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 Fargo. Come here. Come here. Don't jump up in that until I'm at least done doing this, okay? Because I know what you're going to do. You're going to knock over the camera and lighting again. Yeah? Because you did it already. You've already proved. Already proved. A telegram from...